What is up, everybody?
Hello.
Welcome. How's everybody doing? I want y'all to welcome my guest, Casey from Podcast from the Pit.
Hello.
Available everywhere your podcasts can be found. Literally. Apparently. I just use iTunes podcasts. I'm weird.
Yeah, it's on there.
All right. So, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Are you ready for this?
I am.
Okay. All right. So, now my icebreaker is the same for every show. We're going to kind of go over this. We're going to see where Casey stands in the Geek Nerd Dork Myers-Briggs chart. Now, in my description here, we're going to talk about what these are. So, if we have generally a high IQ, high functioning, we're socially awkward, we might be called a dork. If we have a high IQ and we have an obsession, something, whatever it is, we're a geek. If we're obsessed and we're socially awkward, we're generally going to fall into the stalker category. And if we have a high IQ, we're socially awkward and we're obsessed, we become a nerd. Now, if you want to go from dork to nerd, all you have to do is find an obsession. If you want to go from geek to nerd, all you got to do is be a little socially awkward. We really don't want to go to the obsession stalker into the social spectrum. That's just weird. So where does Casey find himself?
Honestly, probably straddling the line between stalker.
Apparently, that's a popular answer. I'm beginning to worry.
Yeah.
I am truly beginning to worry. Well, let's check in and see who's joined us here tonight. We have Eldor, Master Versatile Toy Hunter. How you doing, sir? We got Lawrence from A Punk with Toys, and let's go. Got Mr. Nolan, who's in more chats than I am every time. Oh, you think there's Cobweb. How you doing, sir, Jacob? Good to see you. Ken from Toys Connections. How you doing, Ken?
Hey, Ken.
And Jim from Largo's Lair. How are you doing, sir? Action Figs. How you doing, Ed? Good to see you. Happy Friday to you as well. All right. Now that we've done that, I'm sure there will be other people that come on here in a minute, but we'll get to them. So one of the things that I do, and I'm trying to, as we go along, I'm trying to get people to kind of reconnect with joy and finding some happiness in our everyday life and kind of remembering that simple time that we were as kids when we played and what that means to us. For kids, it's a socially acceptable thing. It's, expected for social development, especially younger kids. Hey, there's Rhea Black. How you doing, Ray? She's joined us. All right. So when I say play state, what I want you to think of is a state of mind where you can be absorbed in an activity that you find enjoyment in, and you lose a sense of time. Given that definition, when was the last time that you played?
I don't know, full on play. I always got an action figure around me when I'm at home. I'm always messing with them.
It's a constant thing.
Yeah.
You're constantly playing.
Yeah, constantly. And if I'm not working or sleeping, I'm trying to do something for fun.
So when you were a kid, how did you play?
Mostly by myself. I have an older brother, but we didn't do a lot of. I lived on a farm until I was 11, so didn't have any neighbors. So mostly played by myself.
So were there particular ways that you played? Did everything play together? Did your toys mix? Or did everybody have their own little world and couldn't be connected in any way?
Uh, I mixed everything. I had a lot of Star Wars, but at this point, I have not seen Star Wars, so I'm kind of making it all up in my head of who does what.
Yeah.
And I would, when He Man came out and Joe, I would just mix them all until eventually it was just Joe.
Eventually, it was just Joe. It
Yeah.
got to that point.
Mhm.
So, when you think about collecting as an adult and playing as a kid, and those relationships that you had to those toys, is there a time where you would, let's say, imagine being that kid again, playing with your toys that you have right now?
Oh, I'd have loved it. I mean, we couldn't afford a lot of the bigger things that I bought as an adult. I mean, I would love to have a flag as a kid, Terradrome, and get down there and really play with them. I can't really do that now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just takes a little bit of work, right?
Right,
You can't play rough with them now, though,
right,
because
yeah.
that plastic is brittle, and
But
the end of the
I
world, you snap off something that shouldn't be snapped off.
would have loved to have all those when I was a kid.
Yeah. So, thinking about that, how do you play differently now with your toys than you did as a kid?
Well, besides just posing them now, I'll take some pictures. I'm trying to do a little bit of photography with them. That's most of the enjoyment I get out of them now, and just looking at them on their shelves. I open everything unless I buy something really old on a card, then I'll leave it on a card.
So you're not exclusively, you know, opener. So you do have some stuff that's mint on card.
Uh, very few things on card. Just a couple club figures, a Larry Hama sign figure that's still on a
Okay.
card.
Yeah.
But most everything, if it's still on a card, it's just I haven't got to it yet.
Well, you know what? It is what it is. Sometimes we got to open our toys. So
Right.
speaking of opening our toys, there will be a point probably this weekend that I will be opening toys, but in order to open up those toys, I have to kind of tell people what I got. So we're gonna call this section, "What did you pick up this week?" So what did you get this week?
I got my snow job today. I think he
Nice.
looks really good. Uh, I got a 3-pack Doctor Who set this week from the Fourth Doctor,
Okay.
and that's it. I'm going to a store tomorrow that's all Doctor Who, so I will get some more stuff then.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, this is my haul, and I have to give them their credit because this one, for the most part, was brought to you by Hello Dove Toys. No, I am not. I am not in any way endorsed or paid by Hello Dove Toys that I'm aware of. I know that I give them more money than I should, but that's how toys work.
yeah.
Sometimes you give people more money than you should. But I got my second shipwreck. I got my second scrap iron. I got another torpedo because these two are going to be one figure, and it's going to be shipwreck in the wetsuit. I'm going to be doing next week. I'm going to be doing a custom sculpt on this, the head for Shipwreck, since his hair comes off. I can do the custom sculpt on it a little better than doing it from scratch. Now, the only figure of this set that I haven't opened of this wave is this bazooka. So I finally got that bazooka so I can put him in my other display because my Tiger Force bazooka is in my Dio. So I got this because I wanted a second drone.
Yeah. That's a good figure too.
Yeah, he's fantastic. So, and I can figure out something with the body too. And then, of course, I'm never going to get this out. This is what this is. Come on. Don't touch it. Come on. Come on. Come out. Oh, that's why. Okay. There we go. Don't. You ever had one of those moments where it's just not going to happen? Uh-huh. Problems coming out? Yep. Problems coming out. All right. We're going to have to go in the back way. Push. There we go. And I got my second mind bender. That's my wall display one. I'm weird like that. The first 50 figures, I have duplicates of all of them, and eventually they will all be on the wall, just like my 25th anniversary figs. So, but that is what I got in this week. I showed off the Valkyries from last week, but those will be opening tomorrow night on Nostradamus Toys Live. So join us if you want to see lots of figures be opened, because yeah, I've got a backlog. And my wife has told me that if I don't do open those figures and clean off the dog's kennel, I am going to be sleeping somewhere else. So that's how that works. So now that we've talked about what we've currently got, let's talk about your childhood toy lines. You mentioned Joe, you mentioned Motu. Any other toy lines that came into Casey's little toy bin?
Star Wars. I had a few of the little Eagle Force, the gold ones.
Okay.
A couple Battlestar Galactica figures. Pretty sure I had the A-Team.
The A-Team, the 3 3/4 inch ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe we had some Sergeant Rock figures. Those were pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of those secondary brands that were doing that same kind of setup, like Lanyards, the Cores, and those kind of things. It was always interesting to see those. And now we have that kind of throughput where we're seeing some of those smaller brands or those secondary things kind of come to the forefront. Like 118 right now, there's been a lot of successful Kickstarters.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice to see that, there's going to be something for everybody.
So yeah, I'm in on a lot of those.
Yeah. I want to say hi to Miss Allison Troy and Mr. Ryan Sweeney. How are you, sir? How are you, ma'am? How is everybody? I think that's everybody. But, it's interesting in our childhood, those toy lines that kind of still follow us into adulthood. We came back. Yeah. When my story, my kind of toy collecting story is, I quit collecting at, I don't know, 12 probably as a kid, 12, 13. I remember the last big thing that I did was I worked in a hot warehouse for 2 weeks during a spring break to earn the money to get a flag. So it was my last big toy purchase. And then, of course, the last 3 figures that I got were Big Boa, Jinx, and Psych Out. And I remember those vividly because of the kind of relationships that I had with those toys because of what they meant. I had a Gray Skull, I had a, Snake Mountain, I had a Fright Zone, I had a Slime Pit, I had all of those things. I had a Cat's Lair, I had a Thunder Tank. I didn't have a feliner because that never really came out. But I had a lot of toys because that's what I used. And I used that for my imagination and to feel better and, to not feel as socially isolated as I was as a kid. Because I am on the spectrum. So it's one of those things that we didn't have that kind of definition then for those of us that are, Asperger's and what would classified as Asperger's, but we're technically autistics. But we didn't have that when I was growing up. That wasn't a huge thing. Now it is. So toys for me gave me a way to not feel as weird. So are there any toys from your childhood that you don't have that you're still wanting to get? But did you go and get all those toys? Now, I kind of know you went and got some of the toys that you wanted as a kid, but
Yeah, I did that.
what were the big ones that you had to have?
Well, I really had to have a terror drum. That was a big one for me. I lucked into the flag. I didn't think I'd get one because I was not going to pay $1,500 for a flag. This is too much. But I got a really good deal on mine, so I was able to get that one. I still want a mauler. I don't have a mauler.
Okay.
But as far as figures go, except for some Night Force or some of their like really rare ones, I've pretty much got all the O-rings I want, unless I find some more troop builders.
So kind of in your toys as an adult, do you ever step outside of those toys that you had as a kid?
Yeah,
The licenses or the genres are there any times that you say, hey, this toy line looks cool, I think I'm going to get it?
AWOC.
Okay.
I got all of the first series. I don't have any second series yet. I didn't do Doctor Who figures when I was little, and I've got a ton of those now. I would say
So
that was my favorite.
So do you prefer the established franchises versus something that's new and independent?
No, I'm excited
Does it
for
really matter?
Delta 17 and
Okay.
Operation Recall and Coastline Longbow. I'm excited for all those. If it looks cool and gives me that kid feeling, I'm probably gonna get it.
And that feeling of excitement that we get when
Yeah.
we get a toy, right? I mean, there's something very, I don't want to say visceral, but for lack of a better word, visceral about that first moment when we get that toy. There's that rush that we've got it, and oh, I can play with it, and I'm not going to feel weird for playing with it as an adult, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We've kind of grown up to that point where we just don't care.
Right.
I don't care that someone knows that I collect toys. I have a YouTube channel where
Right.
anybody in the world can actually view me playing with my toys, right? So I don't care at this point. It's like, look at me, fine, that's fine. I don't care. It doesn't matter. They're toys. It's supposed to be fun.
Yep.
This is supposed to be fun. So, what about community of collectors or word of mouth? Does that kind of guide your toy collecting at all?
I think FOMO's real. You know.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
I think if we had better distribution with some companies,
right.
FOMO wouldn't be such a big issue, but it is definitely
it's a real thing.
It's definitely a problem.
Stuff I've missed out on that I really want. There's stuff that I've bought that I'm like, well, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Do you have that reaction? Because there's some times where I'll get something and I'll be like, why did I buy this?
Right. It's like it's not as good as I thought it's gonna be.
Yeah. There's times when I'll buy something, I'm just like, what was I thinking? I did I do this is why I have to do this thing in the store. And we'll kind of come to collection rules here in a second, but I have this collection rule now that I have to carry it around with me for a few minutes and I have to decide whether or not I really want it. And if I can't say that I really want it, I have to go put it back.
Yeah.
And I'm really bad about clearance toys because I always in my head can rationalize it because I can customize it.
Yeah.
Now, will I go out and actively seek for some things like those $15, Fortnite boats? Yep. I went out and I have 3. I bought one at 30 and then the other 2 at 15. Then I regretted buying the other 2 at 15 because I only really needed one, but I figure I can do another custom, give it to somebody as a gift.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things that I'll do. So if you were the only person that you knew of in your circle, let's say, that were collecting line, would you continue to do it? Because obviously with Doctor Who, you probably don't have a
Right.
whole lot of people in your circle of Joe friends
No,
that
I do
collect
not.
Doctor Who, right?
Nope. But it honestly brings me so much joy that I don't care if anybody else collects it.
You get to that point, right, where you just, if you like it, you like it, and it's not a matter of whether everyone else likes it. It's nice if they do, because then you have somebody to talk to about the things that you enjoy, and then you have that kind of dynamic setup. But
Yeah.
with that being said, I want to try to, let me see if I can get this to cooperate tonight. Need to move you over here. All right. Pop that back up. The lovely fun of StreamYard and trying to get this stuff to work. We will see. Share screen, and here we go. I do kind of dig this diorama piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely cool. Now, was this something that they sold? Was this a playset?
Yeah. It was just folded cardboard. It was a set. They made like 3 or 4 sets for this 1/18 scale line.
Okay. And who made the Doctor Who toys? I know you know.
Well, it's called, I always forget because they don't make the 1/18 anymore.
Because there's some definitely with maybe.
Character Online, I think it's the name of the company.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's like the Tom Baker.
Yeah.
I saw that picture and I was like, that was my Doctor Who growing up. Me and my brother, we'd stay up on Friday nights to watch Doctor Who because it was on at like 10:30.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that we did together. And there's
those are Eagle Moss. They're just like little statues.
yeah. Okay. They're
Probably,
cool.
yeah, I get them on clearance.
Clearance it's kind of weird how that, I think there's more people that like Doctor Who but they don't know that there's toys or statues or any of that other stuff that goes with it. Now, is this 3 3/4 line?
No, that's a 5-inch.
This is the 5-inch. Okay.
Yep.
So this is the newer one, and that's by who? I know there's
same company.
Is it?
Character
Okay.
Online, yeah.
Okay. I love this. This is one of your pictures, right? This is you doing black and white with the TARDIS in the background. That's awesome. Some more statues, I'm assuming?
Yep.
Okay. Doctor Who has always had interesting characters. It's one of those things that is never really the same. Even the Daleks, even the Daleks themselves, yeah, they kind of look the same, but they're not really the same.
Yeah, there's 4 there.
And
2 of them are same.
is that
David Tennant.
Yeah, thank you. My brain was, I literally had it. I was like, David, dang it, what's the last name? So this is more modernish setups, right?
Yeah, I mix my old with new because Doctor Who goes in time and it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. No, this when I saw this, the Tom Baker one, it was just like, oh, took me back.
Yeah.
Took me back to my childhood right there.
I'm doing a rewatch on BritBox, and I'm on Tom Baker right now.
I can vividly remember staying up late just to watch that show. I mean, it was something special that me and my brother did. We did a few things, but I'm sure we argued over who was gonna, some more statues. There's a lot of statues. I didn't realize there was that many.
Yeah, and I only have like maybe a fifth of the ones they put out.
Yeah. All right, hang on. That's one. That's just one of Casey's collections, kids. So we've got a few more to go through. So hang on. I do this thing where I put them all in separate folders, so it's a lot easier to pull it up. And if I do, let's see. I think we'll go with Masters of the Universe. Now, all right. There's that. Go down there. Love this. This is so much fun sometimes. All right. Let's share that. And there we go. All right. So this is Masterverse, I'm assuming, just Masterverse collection?
Yeah. Well, I got a couple Dungeon Dragons cartoon figures in there
Yeah,
too.
I see the Dungeon Master and Bobby.
Yep.
Bobby and Uni. But they fit in well, don't they? I mean,
Oh,
I've got that whole first wave, but I got it all on clearance, thankfully. And they fit in really well with Avenger actually fits in really well with my Mythic Legions, which shocked me. I was like, I didn't think that would look good with it, but it actually does kind of work.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid Mythic Legions.
That's it is a slippery slope.
Yep.
Now, is this Origins or Vintage?
Origins. I don't have a vintage right now.
So Web Store, Leech, Clawful. Oh, you got a Faker.
Uh-huh.
Did you get the duplicate as well?
No.
2-pack? No, just the Faker. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's another picture of it. Ground Ripper. Yeah, I found that Stridor this week. $4.99 at Ross.
Nice.
They had 4. I almost decided to get all 4, but I put it back because I already had one. And I was like, yeah, no, I can make it in a Night Stalker, but no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. And Lawrence says he would like to take full credit for your Motu collection.
Yeah, he's a big part of that. His
Has he been
reviews
pushing you
on
for that?
those. Well, his reviews were just, especially with these right here, just kept tugging at me. It's like, yeah, we'll just get a couple of them.
It was funny when I saw them when I came back to collecting, because I stopped collecting for a very, very long time and came back in like January of 2022, because I needed something positive to do with my time. I needed something to manage some stress, and I was like, you know what, toys have always made me happy. I collected toys as a younger adult. Prior to the birth of my daughter, I got back into Power of the Force and X-Men toys and Exo Squad. There was a bunch during that period where I was trying everything as a younger man. And when I saw these for the first time and I saw Classified for the first time, I was like, great. But then when I saw Masterverse for me, I was like, okay, that's what I wanted to focus on.
Yeah.
I do have some Origin stuff. So I have a Castle Grayskull. I will probably wait till Snake Mountain goes down a bit in price, and then I'll get one of those just so I can have it for a backdrop for a diorama display.
Right. Me too.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I want to go with those. But yeah, no, these tug at the right heartstrings, right?
Mm-hmm.
I loved Motu. Motu was my number 2 as a kid.
Yeah, me
Joe
too.
was first, Motu was second, Thundercats was third, and that's how that order is.
Yeah, I never got into Thundercats.
You miss some good playtimes because Thundercats and Motu worked really well together. And Action Figs is asking exactly how many slipperies is Mythic Legions. It's about 12. It's about 12 because it's around 300 to 400 every 3 to 4 months. So it's 12. It's expensive. It's an expensive slippery slide.
I had a couple in my hand at PowerCon, but I put them back down. I was like, I just know how I am. I'll just keep buying them.
They are beautiful looking figures, and what they somewhat lack in articulation, they make up for in paint application and just general. They stand out on a shelf,
Oh yeah,
and they're great. I like them. I like the Cosmic Legions. Oh, don't get me started on that. That stuff's hurting me now. I just bought the whole wave of Ox Crew. I didn't want to, but when I added up everything that I was gonna buy from that, it was like $248. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy the whole thing. It's for $40 more, I'm getting two other things.
right.
So it was ended up being like I got a $30 figure for $10. So it was like might as well do it. But no, that yeah, there are some slippery slopes right there. Just dangerous.
I love that figure.
I have three. Clearance was my friend.
Mm-hmm.
I got one at 16, and then I got one at 9.
I paid full price for that one.
Well, I bought one at full price too, but I
Yeah.
got two other ones for a discount price. The thing with Masterverse over Origins, if I just wait, the Masterverse is going to go on sale and then go on clearance.
Yeah, I'm
Origins
trying.
doesn't. It either is gone or then the only thing that's going to sit is the stuff that nobody wants, with like Naked Stratos and Buzz Off. But I did get a Buzz Off and Jitsu because Buzz Off was one of those figures that I really really liked as a kid.
Yeah, I'm hoping Whiplash goes on clearance. I'm trying to wait that one out.
Just be patient because they will.
Yeah.
Same thing because Man at Arms did, and then everything will go on clearance eventually. It's one of those things with Masterverse. They don't have an issue with taking the hit. All right, so let's go to the next folder. See, we're working our way from what appears to be the biggest collection versus because by numbers, the biggest collection I would say is probably your vintage and modern Joe, but
Yep. But I'm working on it.
aren't we all? Aren't we
Yeah.
all? At the end of the day, we're all working to change up exactly what we want to collect, and then we kind of modify it there. Let's see. There we go. Now, I love Serpentor so much. I hated Serpentor as a kid, but I love the toy. Hated the character. Love the toy.
Right.
The toy was fun. And this just definitely, when this came out, it was a no-brainer. Immediately had to get it.
Yeah, I just took all those out of. I had them in a storage bin for about a year, I think, because I was moving stuff around, and I was like, well, the classify's taking up too much room, so I'm gonna just put them up for a while. But I'm really enjoying them again. Now that I'm just being very picky at what I buy, classified wise.
Oh, you'd have to be now. I mean,
Yeah,
the last 3 years it wasn't as bad, but now that we're getting 5-figure waves, that pickiness is going to have to kick in at some point, because it's at that point you're talking 4 to 5 waves, maybe 6 waves a year at 125 a wave.
unless you're troop building, then it's more.
Yeah. Troop. Yeah, don't get me started on troop building. That is awful for me. That is so awful for me.
Yeah,
it was 5, but I'm going back to 3. So for the most part, until I get reasonable, until I replace some shelves, and then it'll probably go back to, or it won't. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. I can't do it. And John from Figuratively Speaking is checking in for the evening. Says, good evening, beautiful people. Stopping in to leave a like and say hello to the chat and say hello to Payne and smash that like button. Yes, smash the like button. Maybe. Or don't. I can't tell you what to do. Now, I noticed your cover girl, and we'll get to a photo of a better picture of it. Now, you prefer the blonde hair cover girl versus the red hair.
Well, yeah,
I'm assuming.
I did not like the face sculpt at all. And
Did you change out the face sculpt on the Falcon?
yes, I did.
What head do you have on your Falcon?
Dusty, just
Oh, okay.
washed off the.
I can see how that would work.
Yeah.
I can see how that would work. And that's a shipwreck version 4.
4 or 5, I can't remember which.
Where'd you get the beanie?
A friend of mine made it for me out of. He calls it green stuff.
Oh, okay.
He uses
Yeah,
the
so it's sculpted.
D&D stuff. Yeah.
It's sculpted. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. And your flint has some gridiron, right?
Yep.
Gridiron there. Gridiron on.
Dude.
Dude, I hate the guns that came with Gung Ho.
Oh, me too.
They're just it's tantamount to awful. Worst. I think they're the worst guns next to roadblocks.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell that's supposed to be.
But that Scarlet from the movie, I've got a gridiron sniper rifle in her hand because I hate the crossbows. I just never liked the idea of the crossbows. Yeah. I prefer that Scarlet over the one that came out, the regular.
Yeah. Mine has a submachine gun. Both of my Scarlets in my displays have submachine guns instead of crossbows. It's just they're weird looking and they don't always
make sense to me, but
yeah. And this is your shelf of kind of everything else, your dreadnoughts. Now the bikes, where'd you get those bikes at? What are those bikes?
Just the 112 scale Harley Davidsons.
Okay.
Found them at
I was gonna say Target. They look like those ended up being really small. For the standard figure. It works great for Zorana. It's like she's the perfect size for those. I found a smash and slam cycle and I did some custom work on them. And I made one that looks like Zartan's Swamp Skier as far as coloration.
Oh, nice.
And then I did another one where I used the Tiger Force Ram when they went on clearance for $20 with Duke. I bought 3 and did custom paint work on that to make it look like the old Ground Assault Sears exclusive.
I think that would look better if I swapped Zartan and Zorana because the motorcycle.
Yeah, probably because it looks like the bike she's on is a bigger one, right? A little bit anyway. But I mean, I love Fiona.
Yeah, me too.
I bought an extra Crocmaster just to have an extra Fiona because the animals are done great. Give me more. I'm drooling for Mutton Junkyard.
Yeah, those look great.
Yeah, I am looking forward to that one. I'm hoping that we get, pre-order maybe around PulseCon. I can live to whenever, but I like the animal characters. Now, it would be cool to see a Joe version of Raptor. I want to see a classified version of Raptor. I want to see, because honestly, it was one of those characters that I really did like as a kid. I can't really explain why I liked it, but I did. So, and this is and the retro gung ho is perfect. I mean, I have no issues with that one. I don't like the gun. I switched out the gun for Beachhead because they just look weird. Give me a gun that looks like a gun, not weird whatever that's supposed to be, and it's just I can't do it.
Yeah, the only reason why they got those on there is because when I packed them away, I put their original stuff with them.
Yeah,
I had a better gun on them before. I just haven't been able to find it yet.
Yeah. It's, honestly, this is my favorite line right now that I collect. And that's saying a lot considering I collect Cosmic Legions and Mythic Legions, and I have all of these high-end lines and AWOC,
Yeah.
and you have your Trouble Bubble. I'm mildly jealous. I'm still waiting on. I got charged, but they haven't
Yeah.
shipped. And it's been 3 or 4 days now.
Yeah, they charged me like a week, maybe 8 days before I got my snow job. Thought that was a little weird.
Yeah, that's definitely weird because usually it's like my mind bender. They charged me and then it shipped the next day. So I don't know. So it was weird. It's definitely weird. Now, obviously, you did some troop building with your Alley Vipers. I did get a Crimson Alley Viper, and I really, really, really love the way that looks. It's definitely a step up, and it's my officer. So I'm only getting one of him, I think. I may have two,
And
but I'm making him the officer for my Alley Vipers.
I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's some gridiron on one of my Cobra troopers. Right
Oh,
next to
yeah,
this. Yeah.
that one in the
Yep.
middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you got bats.
Yep.
So I don't see a whole lot of Python patrol, so I'm assuming Target exclusives are not your friend.
Well, I have just a couple.
You had a couple. Yes, there was a couple. So I guess Python patrol isn't one of those ones that you want.
Depends on if I find them, for the right price here and there.
Yeah,
I'd like to get another Viper. I'd like another Viper for sure.
We can probably. I think I've got an extra one that we can talk about. I have usually end up with more than I should because I also buy them to do customs with. So
Yeah.
usually my stack of customs in the garage, I will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 classified figures that of different types that I'm going to be doing customs with at some point. That's the problem, is at some point
Right.
I start on one and then, I get distracted for a little while. And then, like I bought, after talking to Tony's Tony, and apparently using the car vinyl wrap, the mirror, you can get a vinyl wrap on this head. So I will be doing that probably next week with Tony since he'll be there. But yeah, I try to do a little bit of everything. So, and that's why I kind of like when you do customs or you even do the gridiron loadouts, you're doing something different with the figure just because you're making it your own.
Right. And Tony's been real helpful. He lets me ask some questions whenever. He's a real good guy.
So, and now gridiron is one of those ones that, it is a little heavier on the price, but there is a good variety of what they have. And there isn't as much, I would like to say there isn't as much drama with getting gridiron.
Right.
I'll leave it at that. So, all right. So let's stop here and there. Now we're gonna get to the big dog here. Come on, mouse, cooperate. I know you don't like that second screen at all, but geez. All right, now we're gonna get to the big doggy. All right, there's that. And present. Good night, Sir Clifton. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. All right, share screen, and blah. It's like 12 things you got to do to get one place. Now, this is kind of an overall shot that you sent me, and I got to say, it's pretty impressive.
Thanks.
You have one of my grails, which is what a whale. I had a flag as a kid, so it's not a grail for me. And of course, the Terradrome is a grail for me because I wanted one. I never got one. It was one of those that, you wanted that Cobra base to go with your G.I. Joe headquarters, right?
Yep. Yep.
Now, here you don't have the G.I. Joe headquarters right next to it, but in pictures here in a second, the G.I. Joe headquarters is there. So,
Yeah, that was when I first put out the display like that.
hey, Travis, I know you're there. There you go. Thanks for joining us. So, yeah, no, this is your vehicles. So this is kind of your rundown. Do you have these separated by kind of that first wave? Kind of looks like the ones that are by years. Now you have
Not,
the drivers with them, right? So
yes.
I see that everywhere because you have CoverGirl with her Wolverine. You have Steeler with Mobat. That's cool. Okay. Oops. Oh, back up. I don't need real close. Now, is this how many of these are modern and how many of these are is there a shelf for modern and a shelf for O-ring, or is it all O-ring, or is it just kind of a hodgepodge?
Well, I've got them all the moderns together. They just kind of blend in with the O rings because I have so many more O rings. But you can see on the shelf right there, I have the low light
Yeah.
version 2, and I think the modern figures start right next to him.
Okay. Okay. So are there any figures from that first set that you're missing? So that 82 to really, let's go with 80, what, 88? That's what I would kind of classify as the
I'm sure there's one or two, but for the life of
oh,
me, I can't think what they are right now.
is there any Cobra Law in there? I don't know. I don't see any.
Nope, no Cobra Law.
Ah, come on. Come on. Why does everybody got to get my Cobra Laws? No, I hate Globulus, but I do love Nemesis, Enforcer, and Pythona.
Yeah,
I made a custom Pythona. I had to. It was moral imperative for me. And there's our APC, one of my favorite vehicles of all time, just because I could carry everybody in it.
uh huh.
All right. Here's another shot of that, just kind of a little wider angle. Now, this is your Cobra vehicles. You got Destro's the spoiler over here, right? And you got
Mm-hmm.
your Hiss tanks, the Bug, your
I love
Stinger.
the Bug.
You know what? Some of those later toys are just weird, but they're weird in a good way. I know it's strange to say that, but there's some of that weirdness in those later years. Technicolor. Now this row looks like it's all modern on the top, right?
Yeah, those are
And
all modern. I think there's some, yeah, to the right.
yeah, it looks like it's all modern. Most of them, because I have some of these, so and I kind of know what they look like when they made mine are still on card, but I have them.
I try to buy
So
everything open and loose so I don't have to open it up.
you don't have to feel bad about opening it. Is
Yeah,
that what you're saying?
yeah,
You don't have to feel. I don't want to open it. The Cobra Commander, Hooded Cobra Commander, was the first mail away that I ever did. Wasn't the only one that I did, but it was the first one, that's for sure. And I love that figure. That figure was awesome.
yeah. I like it a lot. I still need
Later,
the
Jim.
by Jim. I still need to get the battle armor Cobra Commander.
Oh, that is my preferred version of Cobra Commander. Because in my world, Cobra Commander was not an idiot and incompetent because there's no way that anybody would follow him.
Right.
Let's be realistic about that. If the cartoon made a good point of making him kind of incompetent, nobody would follow that.
Yeah, the comic books did not.
No, comic books, he was competent. But you still hear him in that voice in the comic book, which is worse.
Oh, yeah.
Now, these I'm assuming are graded in the
No.
cases. Okay, they're just in
I paid a little extra for those. I was
okay,
trying to
so
keep
you're
them
protecting
safe.
them.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I was curious because I was like, are those graded? Here's your Mamba, your Night Raven. I love that Night Raven. I'm sorry, that's one of my favorite.
Oh, I see.
I mean, the Rattler's great, but the Night Raven, I think, was just right up there above it.
The maggot back there, that's one of my favorite Cobra vehicles. And the worms.
Yeah. And you know what? The Fang, for that poor sap that had to fly the Fang inches away from death every time. That poor guy. And then of course the stun, and then your terror drum. Now, does your
Works.
it works?
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
so you found one that works.
Yep.
See, you could find them, but you can't always find them that work. That's the trick.
I got that 100% complete for
Nice.
a decent price. Plus he threw in a Cobra eel too. So
Nice.
yeah.
And here's your headquarters, like I said. And the other picture is not visible, but this one, I'm assuming that there's been some shifting and some changing over time.
Oh yeah.
There's another shot of it. Now, there's your moray underneath there. I can't see what's back there, but I'm assuming there's something there behind the Terrordrome. And there's your Phantom. Now, do you have two of the Ostrikers? I'm assuming you probably do. Or is
One
this
of
just how
them
you had it set up?
one of them's from the retro.
Okay.
Life.
Yeah, and I love the flag. I've always loved the flag as a playset. It works more as kind of the display of your collection kind of piece, and that's how I treated it as a kid. I mean, I got to put all of my planes. I got to put all of my figures. It was a mobile base.
I drove all the way to Tennessee to pick that up.
You know what? If the price is right, sometimes you got to go.
My wife went with me. We just made a weekend out of it.
See, now you got her involved in it. Does the wife collect anything so that way you don't feel?
She actually does. She's with all these new Care Bears coming out. She's been getting those. She had those as a child.
So it's a family thing of we love the toys.
And she does. She loves pops, so she gets a lot of pops of stuff she likes.
Yeah. No, I never got a whale, and as a kid, and I really, really wanted it. It's one of those vehicles that there's something about it that's just really, really cool.
It's not in the best shape. There's a couple parts I need to change out, but I got that for $60 at Joe Fest 2 years ago.
Ugh.
In the lobby swap.
Making me sick. Okay, you're making me sick. I can't. No. No.
I couldn't pass it up.
So we kind of briefly touched on it earlier, and I kind of mentioned about collection rules. Like my rule of if I'm going to buy it, I have to walk around with it for a few minutes and decide whether or not I really want it. Are there any collection rules for Casey? Does he have any rules that this is the line and everything else beyond this line is not going to happen?
Well, the only hard rule I have is bills come first. So I don't, as much as I love to do toys and all that, I would not pay my bills first. As long as everything's taken care of, I really don't have a line that I won't cross.
So there's not any time where what I'm not gonna, because you stick to your lines, right? But so that's kind of a hard rule, right? For the most part. You stick to the lines that you know and the lines that you have an attachment to.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I go down rabbit holes. Like
Yeah,
I'll
I know
collect.
that. Yep.
I'll, I'll
Right
be
there
real
with
heavy on one thing for a month, and I'll get a whole bunch of it. And the next month, it could be something else. But I never stop collecting something. I just get picky.
So collections, a collection attention deficit is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what I call that. I'm kind of there myself sometimes. I have this moment where I buy stuff and I'm like, why did I buy this? I don't need it. I don't. It's not part of my toy lines. It's not something that I could customize. I'm just buying it.
Yeah,
I'm buying it to buy it. I just, for me, those rules. Here's the other rule that I have. It cannot cost more than my first car. If it costs more than my first car cost me $550. I will not purchase anything over $550 on a single item.
right.
That's where I draw the line. If I could buy a car that drove me for 4 years for $550, I am not buying above that. No matter how tempted I am, that Super 7 catch layer is not coming home.
Yeah,
Because it's not just the price that's an issue, it's the
space.
space.
I've seen that
The
at Peloton.
collector's
Huge.
is space is the thing that at the end of the day, money is usually not an issue for most of us. We're not giving up food to,
Right.
although some people are. I'm, they're buying ramen for a month, but whatever works for them for that. If that's what you got to do to get your fix, that's great. But space is the thing that gets us all in the end because we're never going to have unlimited space. So, are there things that you want to do with your toys that you don't do right now?
I'd like to do some dioramas. Find a time to make some dioramas. I work a lot, and so most of my time, if I'm not working, I try to spend some time with my family. I work like 11-hour days, and I drive 45 minutes back and forth to work. So very
But,
rarely do I have time to sit down and try to create something.
but it sounds like you would need something like that creative outlet. So I'm assuming the podcast that you do is also part of that creative outlet that you need. I think as adults we forget that yeah, we get so busy doing the things to pay the bills. We get so busy living the life, but we forget or doing the things that have a life, but we forget to live the life.
But the
So
podcast is a huge outlet for me. I've
well,
met
that's good.
so many nice people doing this.
It's it's different, isn't it?
Yeah,
You don't think that it's gonna be the way it is. You don't really think that you're gonna be, who wants to listen to me for 2 hours? I mean, realistically, that's what we think in our heads, right? I mean, yeah, I'm shocked that there's anybody in the chats most of the time when I'm on. I'm just like, okay, it's I don't know why people want to listen to me ramble, but I guess the rambling. I'm not Lawrence or Geek Dad Life, charming or charismatic, apparently. But I try to have fun while doing this. So, and speaking of those things that you want to do and finding the diorama time, do you what's the biggest hurdle for that diorama build besides time? Time is everybody's enemy.
yeah. Space to make it. I have a workbench, but it's just covered in comic books and toys and random
Yeah,
stuff.
it's not a workbench, it's a storage area. That's what we call
Right.
that.
Yeah. But if I could get that cleaned up, I would have a
Yeah.
nice area to, you know, probably start with some styrofoam, make some bricks and all that.
Well, and that's the trick is finding the time. And I think as adults that if we don't take that time to do those kind of things, it does eventually catch up to us.
Hmm.
and it does eventually affect us in a way that we don't like. So there's some challenge there for you. Let's call this homework. Maybe work on decluttering that area and start on something. Maybe even design it.
Yeah.
See what I do before I do before I'm doing dioramas now. I got the first one finished. I've got a bunch more that I want to do. I'm working on the second one right now, and it's basically, actually I'll show part of what it is. This is going at the top of a mountainous diorama. So this is going to be, it actually will have a top on it, and this will be kind of like a lookout tower. And then in the center of the diorama is going to be my his tank.
Oh.
And then on the other side is going to be another mountainous plateau. And then coming in from both sides is going to be Joe's. And this is going to be like a Cobra base where everybody's moving forward and trying to, they're showing off the his tank. So that'll be the diorama. Yeah, I have my shelves are 16 inches deep, 18 inches high, 18 to 24. They're adjustable. I'm going to make it probably 20 to 22 inches high on that shelf, and then 32 inches across. So they're really big shelves. If I had space for the full-on size shelving units, I would put those in, but I don't. But these are great. I found them. They're Capsule is the name of the company, and they're modular. So they're not, you can take, like, you can make them 2 shelves, you can make them 4 shelves, you can make them 1 shelf, you can make them square shelves. They're really adjustable shelves. I would really like them. And I got to get 2 more of them, and then I will be filling up those 5 shelves, because I want to do a winter diorama. I want to do a water diorama. I ended up going and getting 2 of those Fortnite sharks at Ollie's. They're like $7.99, so I can have my water display on top of I'll do some acrylic stands for my boats. So my boats will be in there, and then underneath my boats will be my eels and my torpedo and my shipwreck. And I have this all worked out in my head. I know how I want to do it. It's just a matter of getting the time to do it. And I have to make that time. And that's kind of where I'm kind of guiding you with it. We got to make a little bit of time, even if it's 30 minutes.
Yeah. I'm going to try make a diorama for, I started getting into the Spin Master DC figures, the 118. Figure I'll start with the diorama for those for my Batman.
And that's cool. I mean, I got a 3D printer, and I'm really happy with it. I get to do a little bit of things like
Nice.
Now I know you have an idea of what this is.
It looks like the water moccasin.
Yeah. And this is going to be retrofitted onto it, onto that Fortnite boat. I'm going to try to see if I can figure out a way to get it on there with some Bondo and some polystyrene.
Nice.
Or styrene or whatever it is. I'll be messing with that at some point. But I have like 25 projects that I've got to get. At some point, I will get to. I go a little bit at a time, and that's kind of how I have to do it, because life gets in the way.
Yep.
So, your favorite all-time line, and why is it your favorite all-time line?
I would say G.I. Joe, the vintage. I had all different kinds of toys when I was a kid, but that's the one that really stuck with me. And when I wanted to get back into collecting toys, that was the one I wanted to get. And I was just going to get the ones I had as a kid, like everybody says. But
yeah.
I went overboard.
That's the lie we tell ourselves. I'm just going to get those.
Yeah.
Just going to get those ones that look like the ones I had as a kid. We're good. Honey. And then one toy room later,
Yeah,
you're like, yeah, this didn't go exactly how I would have liked. So, kind of, we lived in this time as kids where there was kind of this blitz where we got comics, where we got cartoons, where now we're getting less of that because we kind of had this programming as kids. Um, when lore changes or when something changes, like say, like it changed from a Real American Hero to what was the next one? Extreme GI Joe to Sigma 6 to all of these iterations over the time. But when it changes, does that kind of
if
turn you off as far as getting those things, or does that kind of reinvigorate it when there's this, kind of swap out?
well, depends on the change. If you go from the vintage to extreme, I know people like extreme. I don't. I don't own any of it. Don't want any of it. Same thing with Sigma 6. I don't want any of it. But I'm
What
glad
about
it's there
Sergeant
for.
Savage?
I don't want that either. It's just I'm glad it's there for the people who like it because there's plenty of toys I can get.
So, what kind of draws you to a figure? What makes you say, "Hey, this is the figure I have to have"?
I don't know if I look at something and it sparks joy. That's when I have to have it. I can look at toys now, even ones I collect. If I don't want that figure or I don't think it's going to be good, I don't get it. I'm picky with everything now.
No, I mean, is that because of space, or is that because of just in general it doesn't kind of like eh?
Mostly, I would say, because regardless of space, if I really want it, I'll buy it.
Okay. So, are there any lines from childhood or whatever that you'd like to see redone with today's aesthetics?
I think they've done all the ones I really want to see. Because I didn't, like I said, I didn't get into Thundercats or, I mean, I tell you, if they would make my favorite cartoon as a kid was Battle of the Planets, G
Okay.
Force. If they could make those
Well, you
afford,
do know that Storm Collectibles has a yeah.
affordable, I would love that.
There's the trick. See, the trick is affordable. See,
Right.
they have them,
Yes.
they're just not reasonably affordable, and
Right.
that's the trick sometimes. Yeah, right.
But I mean,
It's kind of
those
like,
would be
yeah, no, I like a Berserk, so when I see the Guts figures that are just, yeah, I could probably get them, but you know what? I'll hold off.
yeah.
I don't need them that bad. So, any buyer's regrets, remorse, anything that you just right off the top of your head, anything that you bought in your collection that you're just like, I don't know why I bought you.
In my collection right now, I would say the HasLab Sky Striker.
Really?
Well, I have original Sky Striker. I still haven't even opened the one from HasLab.
The HasLab.
Yeah, it's just sitting there. I think that
What
was
is it?
FOMO.
Was it FOMO that got
It
you?
was FOMO.
So did you back the his tank and the
I,
Dragonfly?
I backed his tank. I've already sold the his tank.
Oh, okay.
Space. I just got out of it while I got in it because I found a really cool, nice guy collector who couldn't get it where he lives. So
Okay.
we worked it out, and when it comes in, I'll ship it to him.
Yeah, the shipping on that's gonna be ridiculous, probably.
Yeah, especially where it's going.
Somebody's eating it.
Yeah,
Somebody's eating it on that shipping. At least for me, anyway, because I do the Pulse Premium and I don't have to pay for shipping on nothing.
yeah, me too.
It's a convenience for me. I'll give them the $50 because that $50, by the time I'm done for the year, I know I have already paid for that $50 in shipping
Easily.
easily. Yeah. So, what about burnout? We kind of talked about regrets or remorse. What about, are there times where you are just done collecting, at least for a while?
Yeah, I've like twice have classified already, and it's not because I don't like the figures, but at first it was feeling like a job to hunt them down,
Yeah.
and I really do prefer the 118 scale over 112, but I don't know that they're so beautiful, honestly, and they're just the way they're doing them now. They're really making me happy. For a while, they did not.
Yeah, the last couple waves have been really, really standout figures, and it's good. I mean, we're
Oh
getting
yeah,
some movement there. That's some growth, as I would say.
and
So,
the like the renders I'm seeing with Asia Helix, that's going to be a great
yeah,
figure. They just need to make my Airborne. That's my favorite figure of all time.
that was my brother's favorite figure. Um, our first figures that we got were Rock and Roll, Short Fuse, Zap. We got the 82 stuff. Not all
Yeah,
of them, because we didn't get an MMS and Hawk. We didn't get, we didn't have a lot of that, but we got quite a few of those figures. There was a Christmas that he got GI Joe and I got Masters of the Universe, and that was our thing where we got our toys for that year. Um, and that year the Masters of the Universe wasn't very much, but it was you got Castle Grayskull and all those figures.
yeah,
I'm eagerly anticipating Airborne as well. Um, we know that they've got him in the pipeline, so it won't be too much longer. I mean, it could be next year, could be 2025, who knows?
right.
But I have a feeling it'll be next year, because they'll want somebody to tie in right around the time that Dragonfly comes out to collectors from purchasing it. So I guarantee it'll probably be around that wave, I would bet.
Yeah, that'd
So
be
it'll
cool.
tie in. So, do you ever, we talked about the burnout, but do you ever have that desire just to say, I'm going to do only this line. I'm not going to do anything else. This is the line that I'm doing. Or does, the multiple lines that you do collect, does that make it more stressful or less stressful? Or is that something more of like, hey, I can find something almost every time I go?
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of different lines I do, like I said, I pick them. I don't get everything. I
Yeah.
do vintage collection, a few of those. I stopped getting Black Series. You could say that burnt me out, but
Yeah, I noticed that you didn't include any pictures of the Star Wars collection part, and I was like,
uh,
it's kind of a telling thing though, because when I asked you to send pictures of things that were important to you, so
yeah,
it kind of told me that it's there, but it doesn't have that space in your collection in your head that it used to have.
yeah. I couldn't get a very good picture of my vintage collection. They're in like a curio cabinet.
Yeah.
I didn't get a good picture of those. But black, yeah, I got some Black Series up there. But I only really want to do like Star Wars wise, Bad Batch and Rebels, stuff like that.
So more modern
Yeah,
Star Wars.
yep. I got most of the older stuff I want.
So, is there a time that you see yourself not collecting? What would that look like for you?
I'd probably be dead because I
You're
always
gonna
collect something.
you always collect something.
Yeah,
Are there any other types of collecting that you do besides toys?
comic books. Uh, I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan, so I got a bunch of Cincinnati Reds stuff, but mostly toys.
Mostly toys.
Yeah,
You're gonna be in the old folks' home, going down to the Target to get a digital GI Joe figure that you can print out. Like, who knows what it'll be like when we're in our 90s, sitting in the old folks' home getting toys. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna what? Okay, hang on. What was I listening to? Okay. Apparently, John, figuratively speaking, was enjoying some hot air balloons going up. 250 at once. That's pretty cool. So, one of the things that as a therapist that we would kind of guide people during, I did a group therapy that I called barriers. What I would do is I would do this magic question, and for therapy, the question that we would ask is, if all of your problems went away today, what would you do? But for collectors, we have very specific problems, right? There's two major ones, which is time and money. So, or not time and money, space and money. Ew, my brain is COVID, still kicking my butt. If space and money weren't an issue, what would Casey be collecting?
Probably what I'm collecting. What are those big Masters of the Universe figures? I seen them at yeah. I'd be getting a bunch of those. Those looked amazing at Paracon, especially the Beastman.
Oh yeah, they do. They look amazing. It's just every time I see one, it's like 1/12 scale.
Yeah.
1/6 scale. I have to say to myself, no, it's not scale. I can't do it. The thing is at least it's good because they don't do very many a year, so they don't. But the size of that Battle Cat and Panther, no. It was kind of like the Thunder Tank for the Super 7 Thunder Tank. That's the size of a coffee table. That ain't happening in my house.
Right.
And then you add in, the Cat's Lair. Nope, sorry, too big.
Yeah.
I'm really worried about what I'm going to do with the Dragonfly. His tank I can fit in that diorama shelf.
Yeah.
But the Dragonfly is a whole nother level of problem that I'm just like, I am not prepared. It's a future Aaron problem, but I'm sure I'll figure it out between now and then. Plus, we'll also have all these other little vehicles going around by then, because we'll have a Vamp and we'll have probably, I'm sure at some point we'll get a Claw or Fang, and then we'll get maybe a All-Striker or something that are more, but 112 vehicles just are really, really big. And I think it's one of those things that collectors are not really thinking about. How much space that's going to eat.
We'll get a Stinger too, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely get a Stinger. That's an easy repaint plus just adding some missiles. So yeah.
Yep.
No, it's an interesting thing. But that is all the questions in my thing. Now, I do have one final question.
All right.
And it's the most important question that I'll ask. What did you find joy in today?
I'm kind of a simple person. I was off work today. I had a doctor's appointment. So I swung by and got some shelves to put up for my wife's toy collection.
Nice.
That brings me joy to make her happy because she does so much to make me happy.
Nothing wrong with that. It's perfect. That's a good thing.
Yep. And you have me on tonight. Had a lot of fun. Really appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad to have you. I appreciate you coming on. So, before we go, you have anything going on?
We're hoping to record this weekend.
Okay.
That is right, Ryan. Don't know if we'll get to, so maybe it might be next weekend. But
okay.
I also don't talk about a lot, but doing a little side project with a friend of mine. We're doing a Doctor Who podcast.
Oh, nice.
Where we talk about, he's never seen Doctor Who. any of it.
Oh, really?
So we're going episode by episode. He watches it, and we talk about it. So you
Nice.
get 2 points of view. One who's seen it a bunch of times, and somebody's first time as. And it's been a lot of fun. We're gonna record our third episode Sunday, I think.
Nice. Interesting.
So, yeah.
Oh, that should be good. Well, with that, now everybody can find you. And hang on, let me put this back up. He does have a YouTube. He is on podcast from the pit. It's on YouTube. Understand that if you put in just the word, you got to put it all in as one word. I know it's weird, and you'll find it. But you can also click on the link. Just letting you know. I will have to put that link in the description later because apparently it didn't add. And then of course he's on Instagram. You can find Casey and his partner. You guys just posted. You got 2 up on Instagram, and then the rest are on. The audio only is on.
Right.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
We just switched to YouTube like 2 episodes ago. Haven't been able to put up the audio yet for those 2 episodes because we have just the audio versions to go up for podcasts still. But we just record ourselves doing the podcast and throw it on YouTube. Hopefully people like it.
Well, you know what? That's the whole point of this is to meet like-minded people, to talk to them, and to have a good time. If at the end of the day, if you're not having fun, you're probably doing it wrong.
Right. Yeah. It's just that's all it is to us. It's we both work so much. Average week for me right now is 53 to 55 hours.
Oh, I've been there. I've done those. I paid my time.
Well, I mean, honestly, I get to watch all the YouTube shows that I miss because I go bed early. I get to watch those at work, so it's not bad.
Yeah, not too bad then. All right. Well, with that, I will tell everyone I appreciate you coming in and joining me for this. I also appreciate everybody who is in the chat. I also appreciate anybody who takes the time to watch the replay. That is something that I can't thank you all enough. And I thank everybody that subscribes because I'm just trying to figure out why you're enjoying me because
it's a good show.
All right. With that, I can say, if you can be anything, be kind. Thank you all for coming. And with that, I am going to ask everyone, what did you find joy in today? Find your joy every single day. Everyone, have a good evening.
Bye.